शीशा आप लगाना।
ओ हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंदा हरि नारायण हरि ओम।
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 हरि केशव हरि गोविंदा 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 हरि नारायण हरि ओम।
हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंदा हरि नारायण हरि ओम।
हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंदा हरि नारायण हरि ओम।
वनमाली मुरलीधारी गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारी।
वनमाली मुरलीधारी गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारी।
वनमाली मुरलीधारी गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारी।
वनमाली मुरलीधारी गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारी।
नित नित कर माखन चोरी गोपी मनहारी।
नित नित कर माखन चोरी गोपी मनहारी।
आओ रे गाओ रे गोकुल के प्यारे।
आओ रे गाओ रे गोकुल के प्यारे।
आओ रे कान्हा रे गोकुल के प्यारे। आओ रे नाचो रे रास रचायो रे।
हेलो हेलो हेलो। हेलो हेलो। सभी लोग अपने स्थान पे खड़े हो जाएं। पूज्य व्यास जी आ रहे हैं। हरि ओम स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धसर्वाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु बृहदस्वा मरुतः वृष्टिमातरः शुभं जावानो विदधे जगमय्यः अग्निर्जीवा मनवः सूरचक्षसो विश्वे नो देवा अवशागमन्निः भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गे तुष्टवागुंशस्तनो बिर्वसे महि देवहितं जदायुः शतमिन्नु शरदो अन्ति देवा जत्रा नशक्रा जरशन्तनूनां पुत्रासो जत्र पितरो भवन्ति मानो मदयारीरिकता युर्गन्तोः अदितिर्योरदितिरन्तरिक्षमदित्रिं माता स पिता स पुत्रः विश्वे देवा अदितिः पञ्चजन अदितिर्जातमदितिर्जनित्वं द्योः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्ति ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वगुं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः श्यामा शान्तिरेधि विश्वानि देव सवितरिदुरितानि पराशुव यद्भद्रं तन्नाशुवः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानातिमराधस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। व्यासाय व्यासरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वे ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचारूढमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। करारविन्देन पदारविन्दं मुखारविन्दे वनवेशयन्तं वटस्य पत्रस्य पुटे शयानं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि। मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलायतनो हरि। शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनशेषं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्ग्यं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगविद्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरणं सर्वलोकैकनाथं। बोले श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय। व्यास जी महाराज की जय। सद्गुरुदेव भगवान की जय। सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय।
सभी लोग खड़े हो जाए, आरती करेंगे।
भगवान की है आरती, पापियों को पाप से है तारती। जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती, पापियों को पाप से है तारती। अमर ग्रंथ ये मुक्ति पंच ये पंचम वेद निराला, नव ज्योति जगाने वाला। ये अमर ग्रंथ ये मुक्ति पंच ये पंचम वेद निराला, नव ज्योति जगाने वाला। हरिदान यही वरदान यही, हरिदान यही वरदान यही, जग के मंगल की आरती। पापियों को पाप से तारती। जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती। शांति गीत पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला, हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला। ये शांति गीत पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला, हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला। ये शुभ करनी है दुख हरनी, ये शुभ करनी है दुख हरनी। ये मधुसूदन आरती। पापियों को पाप से तारती। जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती। मधुर भोल जग पंद कोल, संग मार्ग दिखाने वाला, बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला। ये मधुर बोल जग पंद कोल, संग मार्ग दिखाने वाला, बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला। श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही, श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही, आरती। पापियों को पाप
आसन लीजिए। Everyone, please be seated.
Testing. Sitaram and Namaste, everyone. Today, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you who are joining us for the first time, and those of you who are regulars to the Mandir, to our annual Bhagavad-Gita. This is an event that has been going on for quite a few years now, and each year it is something that we all, the devotees at the Mandir, look forward to. Today, our officiating Vyas is Pandit Rupnath Sharma. And again, those of you who are visiting us for the first time, we hope that you will continue to join with us as we join together in listening to the glories of Lord Krishna. This is a very auspicious time here at the Mandir. It's something that we anticipate, and we hope that as you continue to join us this evening and the nights throughout, that you will enjoy learning more and more and digging deeper into the stories of Lord Krishna and all of the philosophies and values. Today, once again, we ask you to also make sure that you invite friends and family. This is an event where a party that everyone can join. So please invite friends and family to join with you on the incoming days so that they can also participate in glorification unto Lord Krishna. Sitaram and Namaste.
सभी लोग हाथ जोड़कर मन ध्यान करो। As you contemplate the divine Lord, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswati Namaha, Om Shri Guru Charan Kamale ध्येयं सदा परिभवग्तनभीष्टदोहं तीर्थास्पदं चिरविरं सिनत्वं शरण्यं भृत्यार्थं प्रणतपालभवादिपोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्। वंशी विभूषित करां नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरधरुन्द बिम्बलाद् दरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्द सुन्दरमुखाद् विन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्महं न जाने। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवी सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो मुदीरते ततो जय मुदीरते। श्रीकृष्णाय वासुदेवाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। जय जय श्री राधारमण, जय जय नवल किशोर, जय गोपी चित चोर प्रभु, जय जय माखन चोर,
माखन चोर। राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
गोविंद राधे राधे गोपाल 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 राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे।
गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे।
गोविंद राधे राधे गोपाल राधे।
गोविंद राधे राधे गोपाल राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद
गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे। गोविंद राधे राधे गोपाल राधे। राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
की जय। सभी लोग स्वागत है। Welcome to Sri Ram Mandir as we celebrate the 22nd anniversary of Ram Mandir. This Bhagavad Yagna is an annual event in commemoration of the construction and installation of these murtis in this location and named Sri Ram Mandir. Many of you have been here from the beginning. How many of you were here when this mandir opened? Heart to toe. Sita, were you not here? Good. Put your hands up. Heart to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. That's 22 years ago. And as such, all of the people that are coming now are new generations. And they are witnessing the efforts or reaping the benefits of the efforts of many who are not with us, some who have passed away also. But nevertheless, every year we celebrate this occasion, giving thanks to Bhagavan. Bhagavad-Gita in Canada, and I believe in the United States right now, in North America, there's more chanting of the Bhagavad-Gita, Bhagavatam, than ever before. One reason could be that we have many more temples than we had 20 years ago. And we have a greater community, larger number, and there's a greater need for Bhagavad-Gita to be chanted. But before I proceed in my Katha, I want to ask a question. And please, might be a personal question, but feel free to answer. And I assure you, nothing will be done offensive. How many of you recently had a medical checkup? Your regular annual checkup? Put your hands up. 1 person? 2? Very good. 3? Very good. 4? All right? Everything okay? Doctor says everything is okay? All the blood work is done? Everything is okay? Well, why do you go to get a medical checkup when you're not sick?
Maintenance.
Why do we go for medical checkup when there's nothing really wrong, but we're doing a checkup? Why do we do that? Anjani?
Maintenance.
Maintenance. Translate. What do you mean?
Just to make sure that everything is working as it should.
Make sure that everything is good. But you don't know if something is wrong, right? So you go there with hope and faith that everything is good. And if something is wrong, the doctor will tell you what, and corrective action will be taken. Bhagavad-Gita is a spiritual health checkup. We don't know what's wrong in our lives, but when we commit ourselves to listening to the Bhagavatam, we may discover some of the things that we didn't know before about our lives, and then we'll be able to take action. So as we take our physical medical checkup, we need to have a spiritual checkup. And this spiritual health checkup takes 7 days. It is a program. It is a form of therapy that it requires you to be engaged 7 days or 7 sessions. In true tradition, it's 21 sessions in 7 days, 3 times each day. And according to the tradition, it's 3-hour sessions, that's 9 hours per day, 84 hours in total, with a complete recitation of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. Now, I know that we do not have all of that time, and we're not going to be here for 3 sessions, and we'll not be here for 3 hours, 1 session. So it'll become my challenge to condense the essence of this Katha into so many days and time. The question is being asked, and I ask you, why do we listen to Bhagavad-Gita? Where we ask, Bhagavan tells us. Bharavi.
कायेन वाचा मनसा पिपातकं नित्यं प्रसुरतं शतातेन ये परासपुष्ट मलिना दुराशया सप्तह यज्ञे कलो पुनन्ति ते सप्तह यज्ञे कलो पुनन्ति ते श्री कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः बोलो श्री कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः.
We're all good people in the world. And when we come to listen to Bhagavad-Gita, it is said this Sapta Katha, listening to it, it doesn't matter who we are or what impieties we might have done, what wrong we might have done in our lives. Just like when we go to the doctor and we do not know what we have done to cause injuries to our body, and by the way, whatever happens to our bodies, we are causing it. And the doctor tells us, by the way, you're eating the wrong food, and you're not exercising enough, and maybe you need to sleep more. All of your weaknesses are identified. And then he says, recommendation, diet, exercise program. You need this for your cholesterol. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, whatever ills we have in our minds, not the physical illnesses, but the mental illness, the state of mind that we're in, when our minds are disturbed, when we're in anger, anguish, anxiety, false pride and greed, and when we have created or done wrong deeds, at Bhagavad Gita, we have an opportunity for redemption. Just like when we go to the doctor, we have an opportunity to improve our health. So as I mentioned, Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual health checkup. And today, this Katha will start with us understanding that why it is that we need to have these checkups regularly. We understand why we need to have the checkups regularly. By the way, in Canada, healthcare is free, right? And everybody can get a checkup. Now here's the big question. How many people did not do their health checkup as they're supposed to do annually? Put your hands up, please. See what it's free, and we still didn't do it. And we know we have to do it, right? I know many people didn't put their hands up because they wouldn't tell the truth. But the realities are, very few of us take the time to follow the routines, to go to get our health checkup when it's prescribed. We wait until something is wrong, then we visit the doctor. And then the doctor says, you didn't do your checkup the last time, so might as well put you through the whole program. And then they send you for the blood work and so on. Similarly, although we know listening to Bhagavad Gita is important, we don't necessarily go to listen to it. Well, we'll go next year. Oh, the next time. I'm too busy now. Similarly, when you go to the doctor says, by the way, your blood pressure is very high, cholesterol is this, and the last time you were here, I told you, and you said the next time, now, your blood sugar is very low. You're in big problems. So the regular checkup is a proactive approach to keeping a healthy body. The regular listening to the Bhagavad Gita is a proactive approach to keeping the mind and the spirituality healthy. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya. Hold me and C sharp at all times. Tanpura nahi hai? Tanpura? Oh. Having said that, what prevents us from going to the doctor regularly? What prevents us from making that appointment to go get that checkup? Anjani?
Busy life.
Busy life. Grandchildren to look after. Visiting friends in New York. What prevents? We have all kinds of reasons that prevents us. And this is called Nirodha. It is known, Bhagavan understands that this will be a reality. Nirodha is the obstruction to God realization. Nirodha is an obstruction to your healthy lifestyle. What prevents you from going to the doctor is an obstruction to your healthy lifestyle. And if what prevents you is your laziness to go into the doctor, or your not willingness to look after your health and well-being, that's Nirodha. What prevents us from getting God realization is our attitude in life. And it is a recognizable illness that our attitude in life restrain us from getting God's realization. And then, in order for us to get this thing that is called mukti, or oneness, closeness to God, mukti is like liberation. To be liberated, to be free. To be free to do what I must do in the name of God. Many of us see marriage as a bondage. Oh, I'm bounded by my marriage, I can't go, I can't do all the things I used to want to do. Young people says, I'm bounded by my parents' rules and regulations, I can't do all the things, I don't have freedom. And then they says, boy, when I reach 21, I'll have freedom. And then they realize they have to pay their own bills. And then suddenly they don't have any freedom anymore. And as such, we too set boundaries. And the boundaries we set are the things that in any way, in somehow or the other, takes away, obstructs us from connecting with God and staying connected. Bhagavatam, listening to the Katha, Bhagavan, helps us to stay connected. This mukti, or liberation, is something we all want. We all want freedom, but when we say, I want freedom, I must tell you that there was a time when women were fighting for freedom in the world. The right to vote, the right to be recognized, and it's still a battle. They're not equally treated. But in 1962 and 60, women were fighting for the freedom for the rights to be recognized as equal citizens in the world. Many of us may know this or may not be knowing this. In Canada and in the United Kingdom and most of America, women were not allowed to own property or to inherit property because they were women. They were not considered to be equal citizens and they did not have the vote. And as such, they felt liberated when they got the vote or the right to vote. Liberation in the eyes of God is when we accept the right to live a godly life. When we accept that we are open and free to practice and to perform and to participate in our religious activity in freedom, that is mukti. And by the way, no government, no laws can stop you from practicing that, even if you live in a communist country where religion is not permitted, because mukti and bhakti lies in the mind. Mansa karma vacha. It is from the mind and our words and our actions that we project this status. It's a status that we inherit called mukti. Then, when we have achieved all of that, the final goal of life is asaraya, a term that we don't hear very often, but is Bhagavatam declares that the ultimate merging and becoming one with God. According to Hinduism, we believe in reincarnation. We believe we will die and because of our karma, we'll come back to reap the benefits of our karma. But we are told that our karma must be of such a nature that we have no need to return to pay for our actions, that we have achieved everything and we can become one with the Divine Lord. And that is called the ultimate status, the ultimate goal of human birth. It is said in the Ramcharitmanas, Bhare bhagya manush tan pava, Bhare bhagya manush tan pava, Sura duralabh sab krantan gava, Sura duralabh sab krantan gava, Sadhana dham moksha kar dwara, Sadhana dham moksha kar dwara, Pain dehi par lok savara, Pain dehi par lok savara. Bhariya bhagya manushatana bhava. After tremendous efforts and cycles of birth by the soul, God grants unto the soul a human form. And this human form, it is the doorway. Sadhana dhamma moksha dwara. It allows us the entrance into this state I just talked about, oneness with God. Listening to the Bhagavatam gives us the opportunity to nurture this and to realize this state. But in life itself, we talked about what prohibits us from getting to God. We talk about how it is that this Bhagavatam can help us. But there are some status or some information or basic components of life that every human being needs to be engaged in. Amongst them is something called bhakti. Now, in order to be healthy, physically and mentally, we need to rest and eat. If we do not eat and rest, what will happen? We will die or we'll go into illness. So, two significant components for our health and well-being is to eat and to rest. Two significant components in the process of spiritual enlightenment or spiritual health. Number one is bhakti, and the second is jnana, spiritual knowledge. And the third component is vairagya. Bhakti, jnana, or vairagya, these three ingredients are needed to be very active in our lives. Just like we need to eat properly, we need to rest properly, and we need to educate ourselves about our well-being. If we do not do those things, we will not live a happy and healthy life. If we do not have bhakti, and we do not have the knowledge, and we are not enlightened, then we cannot achieve God realization. So what we do to stay healthy in life, we need to do to stay healthy spiritually. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo. Sri Krishnaya
Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo.
This concept of bhakti, jnana and vairagya was presented to us in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Mahatmya, in the opening pages of Bhagavatam, and is being told to us by a very good storyteller. We are told that there was a time when all the great rishis of the world gathered together in the place called Naimisharan, and they did this to perform a yajna to awaken humanity from the sleep that they're in, the sleep of failure to recognize God in their lives. And at this gathering, many stories were told about the past and how one can realize God. And there we are told that there is a katha being told about Narada Muni. And we join Narada Muni as he is making a relationship that we will learn from in the due process of our discussion. Suduvacha Atrate Kirtiyami Bhakti Yuktim Kathanakam Shukena Mama Pratyetam Raha Shishyam Vicharaya Cha Ekadahi Vishalayam Chatvara Rishiyo Gamala Satsangatha Samayata Didishutra Naradanam Didishutra Naradanam Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo.
Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
Suji Maharaj one of the revered learned individuals, is relating a katha, a story about Narad Muni and devotion. He says there was a time when Narad Muni had traveled to Badrika Ashram, a very holy place. And there he came into contact with 4 individuals that we call the brothers or the 4 learned brothers. And we are going to ask to start remembering names and titles because we have to follow this story very well. Who's telling the story? Who's listening? So now 4 names we need to remember. Now take mental note. Sanat Kumar, Sanandan Kumar, Sanatan Kumar and Sanat Kumar. Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan and Sanat Kumar. Everybody got that? Let's try that one more time. These are the 4 incarnations of the knowledge aspect of God. Came in the form of 4 brothers. And they were the same ashram that Narad Muni arrived. When Narad Muni arrived, they looked at him and according to the scriptures, the Kumaras looked at Narad and he had kind of a long face, like, he's depressed. You know that face you have when things aren't going good in life and you don't know what to do and you're really lost and nobody seems, and you think you're looking good, but you have a kind of a, as they say, a long face. Let's see what the Kumara says. Katam Brahmaninda Mukam Kutistature Bhavat Tvaritam Dagyate Kutra Kutascha Bhavanam Tava Idanim Shuteshe Gatavino Yata Jana Tavedam Mukta Sangasya Nochitam Vada Karanam Nochitam Vada Karanam Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Bolo Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo. Hey Naradaji, said the Kumaras, why is it that you have such a long face? How is it? What has afflicted you? What has caused you to be so depressed? Where are you coming from and where are you going? So what's happening? Like you see someone and they don't look too happy. So what's happening? Where are you going? Same conversation happened between them. And Narad Muni, of course, looked at them and they said, you're a man of wisdom. We expect you to be always full of light and a enlightened state and happiness. You are down? What is up? What's the problem? This discussion continues. Naradaji says, I have just returned from the earthly plane. And there in this world of humanity, I've seen such great misery of humanity. But I came upon one incident that I want to tell you about that happened in the holy rivers, the banks of the holy rivers. Naradaji begins to relate this katha. Remember, one katha by Suji telling the world about Naradaji. Now we are hearing Naradaji talking to the Kumaras. So the katha takes another dimension and he's talking about an event that he witnessed when he came to the earthly abode. Naradaji said that while he was in the earthly abode, he was by the holy rivers. And he noticed a young girl dressed in white, very youthful. And other ladies were sitting beside her, fanning her as if she's out of breath or she's exhausted. And Naradaji inquired as to what is happening. The young girl recognized Naradaji immediately as Narad, and a dialogue proceeded. भो भो सादोषणां तिष्ठ मच्चित्तात्मपि नाशय दर्शनं तव लोकस्य सर्वथाघारं परम नाशंत. My difficulties, you are the one who can answer them, who can remove them. Your darshan, O Narad, you are learned one. I have troubles, I have problems that I need someone to talk to. I need to speak to someone. Have you ever met someone who you saw that looked so down, and then when you asked them a question, said, I need someone to talk to. I have so much problems in my life, I don't know what to do. Very likely, you and I are the ones who make that statement, not someone else. But Naradaji, here we are seeing Naradaji meeting a personality who expresses a need to have someone listen to them, or for someone to give them some guidance on how to deal with their challenges. This is Bhagavatam, but this is also psychology. It is counseling in a scriptural way. By coming and listening to Bhagavatam, we are receiving that counseling guidance. Although we're not getting personal one-to-one counseling, but the therapy is general. Everyone knows their own situation, knows their problems, and then here are others have problems and how they resolve. Naradaji listened. Bahuda tava bhavayena Dukshānāśani vishyati yada bhagyam bhavedriri bhavato darshanam tada Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo
Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
The young girl said to him, when someone sees someone like you, O Naradaji, then someone feels luck has come their way. And what is the luck that has come her way? She's met an enlightened soul. In our journeys in life, we all would have met enlightened souls. And we all would have met people that we feel will give us guidance and listen to our stories. Here, the young lady feels that she has met such a person and now is beginning to unfold her katha. Narada Vacha Kasi tvam kavimo choma Nayaka paralochana Vadadevi savistaram swaya Dukesha karanam Dukesha karanam Dukesha karanam. Tell me, what is the illness that is bothering you? What is your condition? What is your problem? Narada speaks to the person without identifying who they are, without asking, who are you? He asks, what is your need? What is your troubles? Does the person's name matter before you help them? Does the doctor say, I need to know your name before I can cure you? He needs to know your name for the records and making the bills and the invoices. But to cure you, he doesn't need to know your name. He needs to know the illness. But we live in a society, in a world today, before we do anything for anyone, we want to know, who are you? What's your name? Where did you come from? But giving charity has, those questions have no relevance. Do you want to help? And help. Of course, it is wise to know that you're not putting yourself in jeopardy while you're helping others, because the world is full of con artists. So we have to be wary of them. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Bolo.
Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Having been questioned by Narada Muni, the young lady responds, Aham bhakti riti kyata imau me tanyo mato jnana vairagya namano kalu yogenda jara jaro kalu yogena jara jaro gangadhya sarati shreshma satmatchesta samagata tatapi cha me shresham sevitaya surepi Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo. She says, my name is Bhakti. And these two old fellows sitting beside me are called Jnana and Vairagya. And these ladies, young ladies around me, are the holy rivers taking form. Can the parents of these children please keep them with you and show them how to act in the temple, please? Thank you. Krishnaya
Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
So these ladies are the holy rivers taking form, and that I am Bhakti now. Here we see Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya having a personality. They have been represented in human form. A young, beautiful lady in white represents Bhakti, and Jnana and Vairag are two aging men. And she says, these are my sons. I am their mother and they are my sons. Now, what will be the first question in your mind? How come they're older than you? And they are very old. That was the first question that would occur to everyone. But then Bhakti goes on to explain that in this age of Kali Yuga, that this is what has happened to Jnana and Vairag. And she then proceeds to ask Naradaji, tell me why is this so in Kali Yuga? Naradaji goes on to explain to her what is the age of Kali Yuga. And this Kali Yuga age is the age that we live in. Kali Yuga, the dark age. Why is it called the dark age? And we have more powerful lights now than we ever had in the world before. We don't have a kerosene lamp and maybe a pit fire. We have atomic energy bulbs that are burning now, brighter. But it's a dark age not because the sun is not shining. It's a dark age because we live in the darkest state of the human mind. Our thought process is demonic. Our objectives in the world are all of a demonic nature or a very egotistical nature. And that is a state of darkness. And in this Kali Yuga age, it will be very prevalent. Naradaji says to Bhakti, Drishto divyaje agya dinavacharana gata namaya marini yoyam saragam iva sarabhukta yat palam nastikam tapastate yogina samadhina tatpalam labate sabhyallallo Keshava kirtanam Keshava kirtanam Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govinda Namo Namah. Bolo Sri
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
Narada says in this Kali age, this terrible age where all forms of unjust and man's inhumanity to mankind prevails, there's a great opportunity. He says it is a bad time based on that description. He said, but this Kali is also a good time. So it's bad and it's good. He said, in this Kali there will be a prevalence of impious action, an abundance of impious action. But he says at the same time, there is a great opportunity to become pious. There are good opportunities to become bad, but there are great opportunities to be good. Now, anybody can become a bank robber. Opportunities are there. But everyone can also become a caretaker or a caregiver. Opportunity exists there, but the world allows us to get guns and to rob banks, not allows us. We have the freedom to do, and if we're caught, we'll be punished. And Kali Yuga is in the age where everything is allowed. Look what's happening in the world. People are killing people for no reason. People are starving people. People are hurting each other. And that's going on. But at the same time, there is goodness happening in the world. There are lots of good things happening. Kindness, compassion, understanding, forgiveness. So Naradaji is saying to Bhakti that your children are suffering from Kali Yuga. Because in this age of Kali Yuga, no one wants Jnana and Vairagya. No one wants the knowledge of God. And no one wants Vairagya. No one wants to become detached. And as such, these two fellows are not used. And if they're not used well, they become old and feeble and useless. So similarly, if we do not use our intellect and we do not use our ability to care for others, we too become old and useless. But when bhakti is beside us, there is a light, hope. The mother stands as a hope and says, I am here, I'm youthful. How do I explain to the world the sad state of my sons? Naradaji says, you are fortunate, Bhakti, because you are right now in Vrindavan, in that place where bhakti is very prevalent, where all day and night it is only devotion to Krishna Kirtanam. And he says to her that this Kirtanam, Jai Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe,
Jai Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe.
Jai Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe.
Keshava Kirtanatam, Keshava Kirtanatam. Kirtan dedicated to Keshava, that is Bhagavan Krishna. He says, in this Kali Yuga age, that simple Kirtanam with devotion can bring us to a state of closeness to the divinity. And he says, oh Bhakti, your children, there is a hope for them. If they should move into an environment where Kirtanam is chanted, where people are seeking to gain knowledge of God, where people are looking for the opportunity to have clarity of mind and purity of mind, then Jnana and Vairagya will live youthfully. Jai Radhe Radhe Govinda Radhe.
Jai Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Gopal Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe,
Gopal Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe, Gopal Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe.
Jai Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe.
the dialogue. Bhakti says to Narada, but Narada, if you, the intelligent ones, the learned ones, knew about the coming of Kali Yuga, why didn't you stop it? Why did you not say, no, I don't want this age? Narada related to Bhakti that at the time of Bhagavan Krishna's departure from this world, he told the world that Kali Yuga is coming, and then he installed in the kingdom of righteousness a great king who is the grandson of Arjuna, Raja Parikshit. And he says Raja Parikshit has the power to restrain this age of Kali Yuga. But Raja Parikshit says that in the previous age, it took lots of efforts, meditation, learning the scriptures, going to tapasya, and tremendous effort and hundreds of years before one can get to the state of oneness with God. But he said, in Kali Yuga, it is the simple of Kirtanam. So Narada related to Bhakti that in this age of Kali Yuga, Jnana and Vairagya will always be in the corner collecting dust. And they will look old and withered away. But through Kirtanam, chanting of the name, they will become energized again. You know, when you sit in satsang and you chant and you enjoy it, you go home, you want to wait for the next day to come back again. And then you think, I wonder when I will get a chance to come to Mandir again. Is that true? Do you do that? Or do I have to go back to Mandir again? Which one is it? It's like, I went to the doctor. Do I have to go back to the doctor again? But the doctor says, you better come back and see me next week because I have to check your blood pressure every week. But you didn't go to get your regular checkups. If you were doing your regular checkups, then you would not be at a state. Similarly, if we are doing our regular checkups, spiritual checkups, then coming to Mandir will become a joy. There are many of us, when we are in challenging times, we love to be in the Mandir. But when our challenging times are overcome, we are finding other reasons not to be in the Mandir. But when challenges were there, the Mandir was the only solace that we had. We found comfort and solace there to be in satsang at all time. When our problems go away, we got busy. You know, we didn't too much to go to Mandir all the time. I don't know what. I got other things to do. Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Shri
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
In chanting Kirtanam, Jai Radha Madhav Jai Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari
Jai Radha Madhav Kanaya ki jai. In the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, in the first skanda, we are introduced to Raja Parikshit. Raja Parikshit, as I said, is the grandson of Arjun, the Pandavas. And he was the reigning regent after the departure of Bhagavan Krishna from the earth. We will discuss Bhagavan Krishna's departure later on in our Katha. But we want to talk about Raja Parikshit. Raja Parikshit is a king who is doing well. He's well regarded throughout the world. He's a man of great stature. Other than being a king, he's respected wherever he goes and whatever he does. We're told that once stay there, it's okay. Narada, fine. Ekadadanurajyayam bicharan mrigayam vane mriganugata sratvam sudhitasya to drisham jalashamayam chakshunam parvivekatamatra Muni masinam shantam mili talochanam shantamili talochanam Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Govindaya Namo Namo Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo.
The great Raja Parikshit was having a good day and decided to go hunting. So he got his bow and arrow and his favorite horse and he took off into the forest. And while he was chasing after the deer, which he did not catch, but it frustrated him. He spent hours and days or hours, long hours trying and he failed. And he was thirsty and had no water to drink. In the sun and the heat, he saw a hermitage and he approached the hermitage. And there, in this hermitage, it was the place of Samika Rishi, a well-known sage who at that time was in tapasya. Now, tapasya, samadhi, it is said that you and I have the power that we can sit in this state of samadhi and we can be like a turtle. We can pull in all of our limbs. Have you ever walked on a beach and saw what looked like a turtle shell? And then you stepped on it and suddenly 4 legs popped out in the head and you said, ooh, it's alive, it's moving. But while the turtle was there, it had pulled in all of its 5 elements, the 4 legs and the head, and was sheltered and it was totally secluded. You and I have the power to withdraw all our senses, Panch Gyanendriyas, and put it in the shell of bhakti. Under that shell of bhakti, whereby people will think that nothing is going on, or you're not quarreling, you're not complaining, you're accepting, you're forgiving, you're understanding. What kind of person is this? You don't hear much from them, they only speak when they have to be spoken, and when they have to speak, and they only say what is good, and so on. You're thinking, wow, where did you come from? I didn't know such a person exists in the world. Here, Narada Muni and all the great saints and sages are hearing this katha being recited about Raja Parikshit. But Raja Parikshit is now approaching a man who is in that state, who is in meditation where he's pulled in all of his senses and the antennas. You know, I call the eye an antenna, the ears an antenna, the nostrils an antenna, all of them take in. They receive sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. They're all receptacles. Without them, we cannot communicate. But by the way, we have to receive, then we send. So they're all receptacles. All of the receptacles of the great sage, Simika, was withdrawn from the external world. And he was in a state of internal bliss. He was seeing the Lord within. And in that state, what is happening in the outside, he's oblivious of that. He's not aware of it. This king who was thirsty and frustrated by not catching the deer that he ran around so long, arrived there. And by the way, this king is a well-disciplined man. As I described, he's well-renowned, known to be charitable, kind and understanding. And this king is frustrated and angry. And he approaches a man who's in peacefulness and calm and serenity. What happens next? Bhairavi, all the time, go. Indira, you go. Take lead, Rani. Keep it going all the time. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Pratirudrena de pranam Mano buddhi muni paratam Stanatrayat param praptam Brahmabhutam vikriyam Brahmabhutam vikriyam Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo. For us to understand this samadhi, how many of us ever think that when we let ourselves and say to sleep, we're very conscious and then we're not conscious anymore? But we are still alive. We're breathing, but we are not. Are we unconscious when we're sleeping? Or are we conscious? Which one is it? You're conscious. So, but we are in a state of, are we hearing what's happening outside? Are we seeing? All of the senses are very active. But the mind is not responding to what the senses are receiving. The mind is in a state of sleep. That is when you and I allow ourselves to sleep. When someone goes in the state of samadhi, someone is called upon themselves to say, I want to be in this state. I want to be in this sleeping state whereby I shut off all of my receptacles and be within. And that is a restful state, a peaceful state, a state of samadhi. But this rishi was not asleep. He was in a self-imposed sleep. While he should have been awake, it was full daylight. The sun was shining bright. He's sitting out in the open under a tree. And the sun is shining bright and the breeze is blowing and the wind is blowing, the leaves are falling. But he's still asleep, in a spiritual sleep. In this state of samadhi, this man who is really upset with himself, who's frustrated that he did not accomplish his goal and is thirsty, goes to him and says, hey, I need some water. He's speaking to Simika Rishi, who is in samadhi. What do you think happens? The Rishi doesn't say, hey, you're lost. Why not? The Rishi doesn't say, oh, wait a minute. Why not? Why is he not saying anything? Because like you when you're asleep, if your spouse comes in the room and tries to say, hello, you're asleep, and you say hello very loud, then you get angry, then they get up and they're very upset. Why did you wake me up? This Rishi is not in that kind of sleep. He's in a blissful sleep. Vedas describes the sleep in this manner. He was situated in a trance, wakefulness and dream and unconsciousness. Wakefulness, dream and unconscious. And we all go through this. We are dreaming and we are acting. In our dream we are moving, we are fighting and we're talking, but we're unconscious. What state is that? We all go through it every time. Do we know that we can infuse this state? Do we know you have the power to call upon this state? I want to be in samadhi. Yes, I can. And this is what the yogic power that a human being possesses, but it can only be achieved with regularity of practice. Simika the Rishi had mastered this art and was in great state of samadhi, and this king who was frustrated was trying to get his attention. Of course, he didn't get his attention. What happened next? Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah. Prakirtam data satnam Shaurevana jinannacha Vishyutyalurdakam Tata bhutamaya chata Tata bhutamaya chata Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo
Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
The sage state condition was one that he was wrapped in the skin of a deer, and his hair was long and overgrown and disabled all over the place. He was not well groomed in any way. His attire was not something that you would look for in elegance. He was seated in bareback format, wrapped with a deer skin, and his hair all over the place, and sit firmly in this firm status. And this king approached him or called upon him and says, "Can I have some water?" The king, the Rishi, did not respond. Alambatina bhuyadi rapratatyam sutata avagyanati mivatmanam manyamanastu kropaha manyamayastu kropaha Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Sri
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
You must understand that the king, as royalty, have certain expectations when he meets his subjects. That they will jump to attention, they will offer him a seat, they will cordially welcome him, they will do all of these things, and they will get excited about his coming. Yet this person is just seated there, and he's asking for water, and no response. Now his anger is becoming rage. He was already frustrated when he got there, and now he's being treated like a nobody. Nobody wants to be treated like a nobody, especially when they're somebody. And you know, all of us as human beings, when we don't get the treatment we think we deserve, what do? You know what happens? We get upset. I know that happens to me quite often. As such, this great sage is seated in such a way, and of course, the king believes that he saw him. But the Rishi is oblivious of his presence. The stage act continues. Abhuta purva saha saha Chutishyayamidatmana Brahmanam padam bhuta brahmana Matsaro mayure vacha Matsaro mayure vacha Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo
Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Suchi Maharaj, Sri Sukdev Ji, and Narada Muni, who is explaining this katha to others, saying, "Oh dear beloved devotees, this king was getting really wired up now. He's getting riled up now. I'm angry, I'm thirsty, I'm trying to get some attention, and my subject is ignoring me? Oh my God, mother and father, when you have your child, you're talking to them and they're ignoring you, what do? Don't answer that now. You're getting really riled, then you have to calm down. But Raja Parikshit didn't calm down. He didn't get the water, and he continued to be riled up. Satu Brahma Rishyeramsa Gata Sumira Gatam Rusha Virnigakshantu Kotabhya Nidhaya Puramagata Nidhaya Puramagata. The king became prostrated and disgusted with himself and says, "That's it, I'm leaving." And his departure with anger, he looked upon the Brahmana who was in meditation, and there was a dead snake on the ground. He picked up the dead snake with his sword and just tossed it over the neck of the Brahman who was in Samadhi, and then rode off. Let us analyze this scenario. Did the Rishi did anything to deserve to be treated the way he was treated? He was innocently in Samadhi. Did he ignore the king? The king goes away accusing in his mind this Rishi of ignoring him, not being respectful, and all of these things because the king was emotionally disturbed. And in his mind, everything else is against him. When we are emotionally disturbed, even if the most calm and peaceful person will come to us, giving the best advice, we see them as addition to our misery and our anger. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo.
Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
In the departure of the king, the Rishi, having had the snake thrown around his neck, of course, awoke from his samadhi. We're going to conclude our katha tonight because we have now reached a point where Bhagavatam will be recited, and we will be told later that Raja Parikshit will be the man who will request to hear the Bhagavatam. And throughout the next nights of this yajna, we'll be hearing Suchi Maharaj and Sri Sukdev Ji reciting Bhagavad to Raja Parikshit. But we need to understand the preliminaries of why we want to recite him. But let us review what we have discussed tonight. Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya, these three ingredients or components are like water, food and rest. For our physical well-being, we need water, food and rest. For our spiritual well-being, we need Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya. If we do not have water, we will dehydrate. If we do not have food, we will lose body weight. If we do not have knowledge, we will not know how to eat food or to drink water. As such, we need all of these three to be well balanced to have a good life. Similarly, we need Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya balanced in our life to have a healthy spiritual life. In all of the discussions tonight, we are moving into this understanding that the knowledge of ourselves and our relationship to God is how we can develop our Jnana knowledge. It will also motivate our Bhakti, devotion to God, and it will give us the opportunity to free ourselves of the bondage of the day-to-day materialistic burden called Vairagya. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo.
Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Thus, we must remember and understand the value of God in our life. Hamaro dhan Radha, Sri Radha, Sri Radha.
हमारो धन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
परम धन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
परम धन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
हमारो धन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
हमारो धन राधा
श्री राधा श्री राधा जय जय श्री राधे बोलो जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. And now I pass over to Indira for announcements. Mate, you didn't type it up for her?
There's slides up there. It is. It's on the slides.
You're announcing it. I'm not seeing the slides.
Once again, Sitaram and Namaste, everyone. We welcome you today to the first day of our annual Bhagavad-Gita. And I'm sure those of you who joined us, whether you're on social media or here in person today in the Mandir, would have appreciated the beginnings of the story that we are now delving into. And we learned about how this process, these next 7 days, we'll be enduring a spiritual checkup. And not many of us like to go to the doctor and get checkups, but a spiritual checkup and a medical checkup are always needed. So today we are reminding you that both of them are required in life. And we hope that you will join us again tomorrow as we continue with our Bhagavad-Gita, the second
Go
day.
back, she said.
So we have some messages to share with you this evening. And first of all, once again, we welcome all of you. We want to let you know that we'll be having some wonderful events that are coming up that you need to put into your calendar to remind yourself of what's coming. Our Bhagavad-Gita will end on Sunday, August 21st with a Maha Havan, and we are inviting all of you and your family to please join with us on that day. If you would like to participate in Havan, there will be packages prepared, and you can go to the office to get more information about this. And we also have Krishna Janmashtami, which will be happening on August 18th here in the Mandir at 6 p.m. to midnight. And it will be here in person at the Mandir and also streamed live. And we're inviting you to come out on that day as well to celebrate. And today, Priti Bhoj is contributed by the Verma family. And we'd like to say happy birthday to Arav, who is celebrating his birthday.
बार बार दिन ये आए बार बार दिन ये गाए
बार बार दिन ये आए बार बार दिन ये गाए तुझे हजारों साल ये मेरी है आरज़ू हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू हैप्पी बर्थडे टू आरव हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू जन्मदिन बधाई जन्मदिन बधाई जन्मदिन बधाई जन्मदिन बधाई जन्मदिन बधाई जय जय हो जन्मदिन बधाई जय जय हो.
A wonderful round of applause to the birthday.
And on the note of birthdays, we'd also like to invite all of you to join us with the special birthday days coming up here at Ram Mandir, and that is the birthday of Pandit Rupnath Sharma, who will be 70 years old. I know he doesn't look that old, but it's true. 70 years old, and this is on Thursday, August 25th. Here at the Mandir, we'll be having a Mata Ji Ki Chauki, a beautiful, beautiful satsang dedicated to Mata Ji, and we're inviting everyone to please come and join with us in celebration for that big day. And we also have seniors in our community. Our seniors are very important to us at the Ram Mandir, and today we're celebrating Tripta Bhuchan, Rota Sharma, Neeraj Sharma's birthdays today on August 15th. Today also happens to be India's Independence Day. And I know there's celebrations all across India and around the world to celebrate this very important day. And I believe that is all of our announcements.
And we want to to extend congratulations to all our Indian nationals. And we who are not born in India, we still feel the joy of celebrating the freedom of India, that we are being blessed that we live in a free world and India progresses the way it is. Bharat Desh, how do we do this? Jai Hind?
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind?
Jai Hind.
Bolo, bolo, bolo. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, go.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Dhanyavad, Tali. And now we invite everyone to please stand. Aarti. Everyone can participate in Aarti.
Which arti? Which one?
Ready? C sharp.
Which arti?
Bhagavad Bhagavan. हाथ जोड़कर we offer our concluding prayers tonight. We give thanks to Bhagavan Krishna that He will continue to guide us over these nights of devotion as we listen to Bhagavad-Gita, that we shall seek out the opportunity to improve our lives spiritually as much as we try to improve our lives materialistically and physically. We pray that God will forgive us for whatever shortcomings we have and continue to guide us and protect us throughout our lives. As we pray. Akaram bhujaya shayanam
Padmanabham Suresham Vishwanaram Gaganasarvesham Meghavarnam Subhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalayanam Yogividyanagam Vande Vishnu Bhavayaharanam Sarvalokenatham Om Dyo Shanti Rantariksha Gum Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapaha Shanti Roshadaya Shanti Vanaspatya Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvagum Shanti Shanti Deva Shanti Sama Shanti Devi शीश झुकाकर धरती पर प्रणाम गुरुर ब्रह्मा गुरुर विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरुर साक्षात् परम ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः सतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्।
बोले श्यापति रामचंद्र भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, गणपति भगवान की जय, लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय, राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सद्गुरुदेव भगवान की जय, व्यास जी महाराज की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय, धर्म की जय। अधर्म का नाश हो, प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो, विश्व का कल्याण हो, धरती माता की जय हो, भारत माता की जय हो। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव।
Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai. We thank you for joining us tonight. We invite you to join us for the remaining of Bhagavad-Gita. Remember, we'll be celebrating Krishna Janam on Thursday? Thursday, right? Thursday?
Yes.
And of course, there's Govardhan Puja, then Rukmani Vivah, and then, of course, Purnahuti with the Katha of Prahalad, Sudamaji. Dhanyavad. Everyone, please. Priti Bhojan is prepared for everyone. So take away. Please take prasad and take Bhojan home. Dhanyavad.